Hello, my artsy friend. Today we're going to walk through adding some daisies to a little sweater. We're going to upcycle a little bit. I'm going to give you some options and show you a large and small version. Let's jump in. Starting with our water soluble stabilizer, I printed this out from the PDF and I'm going to choose, I think I'm going to go with a big one and a little one. So let's start with the larger one. I am going to cut that out really quickly and then we're going to place it on this sweater. This is an old sweater of my son's that I'm going to upcycle for my daughter. So you're just going to peel that and you're going to be able to stick it on and stitch right into this. So I'm going to place that there on the left chest. And then this is the yarn I'm going to use. It's a 4. Typically I'm using a size 4. You can see that in the little yarn symbol. But I'm going to measure it tip of my finger to my elbow twice. And then I'm going to pull a little bit for a tail. And cut that and then I'm going to thread it. So I'm going to take the threader through the eye of the needle, pull that through, and then knot it. I want to leave a little bit of a tail so I can weave it into the back. Now I'm ready to get started. So I'm going to come up through the back. We're going to go down. I like to go a little bit to the side of my first hole. It depends on what kind of sweater you're working with. You can go in the same hole. I just like to give the fabric a little bit of a break. And then I'm going to come to the top here and catch it just like we did in the stitch deck. And I'm going to catch that. So we're going to come up and then you can go back down into the same hole or you can go right across that thread as long as you're securing it in place. That's the goal here. So we're going to secure that loop. And you can leave it as it is. I am going to fill this one in. So I'm going to come back up in the center here and I'm going to come up and then back down into the same hole where I started that stitch to secure it. Do you see right there? So I'm going to go right back down there and that's just going to give it a little bit of filler. Now you could do this a couple times if you want it to be super full. I'm just going to do one for now and move on to the next petal. So I'm going to come up from the back. Again, I'm going to be making a loop and then I'm going to go back down next to that to create my loop. So I'm going to pull that through, make sure I don't go too far. I want that loop to form. And I'm going to come back up at the top. So this is where I'm going to catch that loop. So I'm going to pull through and that's going to help tighten it. And I don't want to go too tight because I don't want my fabric to pucker. So you have to play with that a little bit. Make sure you're getting the right tension. And then I'm going to go back down over that to secure it. And then again, I'm going to fill this one. So I'm going to come back up on the center of this and fill that in. And if you wanted it a little bit fuller, I would do it a couple times. You can also double over your yarn or use a chunky yarn to get a fuller effect. So I'm going to speed through these and then I'm going to show you the back of it and just show you how I like to keep the back of it a little more tidy. All right, so we've got that done. I'm just going to slip this under my stitches. Sometimes I'll wrap it and other times I'll just stick it under there a few times or through the yarn just to make sure it's not going anywhere. I also seal the back of these with a silky tender touch, so I'm not as worried about it, but I do like to keep those a little bit tidy while I'm working. So I just want to show you that really quick. I'm just going to clip that off and then I'll come back and tuck in that other thread as well. And now we can work on the center. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a cheat. You can do a French knot if you like. You may have learned that in the stitch deck, but I'm going to come up through the back here. And it is going to be very similar, but we're really just going to be making a normal knot. So I'm going to make one knot and pull that through. And then I'm going to make a second knot right on top of that knot. So again, these are just like regular knots. I do think this holds up a little bit better on apparel. So then I'm just going to go right back down next to it. And I'm going to pull that through and it's going to make the cutest little center. Isn't that awesome? There you go. There's your little cheat. So I think I'm going to go ahead and clean this up and I'm going to meet you back. I am going to put a small one on the sleeve of this just so you can see one large and one small. I tend to like the smaller ones better, but anyway, I will meet you back once I get this cleaned up. The other reason I want to show the little one is I want to plant a seed. If you're doing a name sweater and have an eye, it is the cutest as the dot of the eye. So just an idea. But anyway, I'm going to do a small one here. So I'm going to cut this out really quickly. And then I'm going to place it onto the sleeve here. So I'm going to clean that up a little bit. Peel, stick. Again, you're going to stitch right into this just like we did for the larger one. So I'm going to put that there. And then I'm going to come up through the back. I'm going to be creating my first loop for that petal. I'm going to come up and then back down into the same hole or right next to it. I like to give it a little bit of break. This fabric is not quite as sturdy as some of, like a denim jacket or something, you're going to be fine. But I'm going to go down and then I'm going to come up and catch that loop at the top. I'll make sure my needle comes through and then making sure that loop, yep. Goes right over top, and then I'm going to pull that through, and again, making sure that I'm not going to go too tight to like cinch up that fabric. I don't want it to pucker, and then I'm going to go right back down to secure it. Now these I may leave as open loops, we'll see. You can do either. You can leave it as an open loop or you can fill it. But I'm going to come up again and back down to create my second loop. And come through there and then back up to catch it. I'm going to catch that loop there. Make sure that that loop goes over my needle so that I can pull it through. And then once I've pulled that through, I'm going to secure it by going right back down over that thread. Now I'm not loving the open loop, so I am going to go back and I'm going to fill these. Again, this is totally optional. I'm going to come up through the middle and I'm going to go back down right where I started that stitch to secure it, and I'm going to fill that petal in. I just, for some reason, I'm liking the fuller look today. So I'm going to do that. I'll speed through these and then I'll meet you back for the center. So we're going to come up through the middle here, and I'm going to do the same technique. Again, you are welcome to do a French knot. I just like, I don't know why I love this little cheat, but I'm just going to knot it and go right back down. And it's just the cutest. It's so cute. So there's my center. And now we're going to be ready to tuck these in. So I just go under for this one too. I don't do anything too fancy. I just want to make sure they're tucked. And then when I seal it, it's totally secure, because the Sulky Tender Touch does really well attaching to the yarn on the back of your apparel. There we go. We've got both of them done. So a large one and a small one. And now I'm going to dissolve the water-soluble stabilizer with some water. So I'm going to start with the little one here. If you can, it's better just to get this section wet that has a stabilizer on it. You don't have to soak the whole garment. But I'm going to let that soak for a little bit. This is a dark garment, so I'm not as worried about the lines bleeding. But if you're using white, please soak it for longer.